Welcome back. This segment we're going to be cooking carbohydrates, carbs. So what we're going to do today, the one I'm going to do is brown rice. And this is one of the classic best carb sources. Just like what we talked about before, the chicken breast, one of the classic protein sources. So remember, protein and carbs every meal. So brown rice, there's a lot of different ways to cook it. What I found to be really tasteful, because you can cook it with just water, brown rice and water, but what I actually like to use is chicken broth. So chicken broth, I'll buy the ones that are 33% less in sodium. Makes a little difference. But chicken broth, because it gives it a lot of taste. And sometimes I also put in tomatoes, chopped up tomatoes that you can buy in a can at the store. And sometimes also even onions too. And chop it up the same way, throw it in there. So you can kind of experiment a little bit, just as long as you have more brown rice than the thing that you're experimenting with, you should be fine. Yeah. So
and this brown rice, I would say it's probably in at least 75% of the meals I make with the zero willpower system.
Yeah.
And after a while, like I think that I don't know if this is just like my superstition, but like since I've been eating brown rice for a while, I actually don't feel right when I don't eat it. It's I think like something in it, the fiber or something, just really makes you feel a lot better.
And some of the questions I get sometimes is, well, you know, is it okay to eat carbs, you know, because of the Atkins diet and all that stuff? And really, brown rice is one of the best carb sources. And there is no way you're ever going to get fat eating brown rice. You know, just make sure you keep your portions good, just like what we talked about a little bit earlier. But brown rice is excellent. So don't cut it out. It's good for you.
Yeah.
And now let's go ahead and drop our chicken broth in there.
Again, though, if somebody is just starting off and you really want to eat white rice, I would say, you know, start off with a white rice, and then you can eventually graduate to the brown rice. But just do, you know, do whatever it takes to get started on this, and then later on you can graduate to the absolutely best foods.
And that's actually a good point. When I first started, well, you know, me being Asian, I eat rice, you know, all my life. But actually, I didn't eat brown rice when I first started. You know, I'd say white rice because it was something I was just used to, you know. And brown rice is, you know, you don't really see an Asian family eating brown rice. But I got used to it, and once I started eating it, you know, its taste a little different, but still the difference between brown rice and white rice, having a breakdown much easier. It's really good for you when it comes to when you really want to shed those last couple pounds. Yeah. And if you've been eating, let's say, white rice, you know, for a long time, and you want to really go ahead and have that six-pack really come out, switch to brown rice, and I guarantee that's going to be a good change, and you're going to see those extra sheds, extra pounds come off. So,
I actually, I remember I first like learned about brown rice, and I tried to make the switch when I was down here, and the very first few times I did it, I hated it. You know, I really didn't like the taste at all. But like I knew it was good for me, so I kept eating it. What I did to kind of like accustom myself to the switch was I made 50-50 rice for a while, where it's half white and half brown rice.
Oh yeah, I tried that before.
Yeah. And then I did that for a while. Then I went to straight brown rice, and now that I'm on the straight brown rice, I love it. I can't, you know, I'll eat white rice, but I really like brown rice a lot more.
So just to let y'all guys know, the amount of rice I used in this one was, where is the size say here? There we go, 28 ounces, or basically 1 pound and 12 ounces. And each of these are 16 ounces. And they usually sell them a little bigger. It's just the grocery store I picked them up at this time didn't have them. And the amount of water or the amount of chicken broth or any type of liquid you go with it, what you want to do, you can, there's a lot of different ways to measure it, but the way I found to be easiest is actually you can take your pinky, or you can basically measure it to where it's 1.5 inches over the rice. The liquid has to be 1.5 inches over the rice. And the way you can do it is all you do is stick your pinky down in there, and there we go, and yeah, 1.5 inches, so we're perfect. So close the lid, and good old rice cooker. Rice cookers, you can find them to be very expensive. Sometimes they're really cheap. Go for the cheap ones. This one is actually, this one costs I think about $99 or 100, maybe 100, a little over. I forgot, bought it a little while ago. But you can actually go to your local store and you can pick them up as cheap as about $20. Yeah. And
I would say, like, if you want to follow this plan, then you gotta have a rice cooker. It makes things so much easier.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can cook it on the stove top, but it takes so much longer, and it's such a hassle. The rice cookers, you know, you just hit the button and forget about it, and you get a little, you get a little sound with it.
Your, extra money.
There you go. That's where the other $80 went. The little sawn. So there you go. It's cooking, and that's it.
Right. Okay, so let's go into the next carb source, which is potatoes. So when you're making these roasted potatoes, I really prefer these red ones. I find these red ones kind of have a better flavor. You can also use the white potatoes, doesn't really matter that much, but the red ones I find are a little bit better. So what you want to do is chop these up into fairly small pieces. Something like this, you can just do like thirds. And just chop these up like pretty small so it cooks fast. This, I would say, is one of the more labor-intensive things in the zero willpower system, but it's still super easy.
And here's a suggestion, Dan. A lot of times, if you can see through the camera that the board is moving a lot, my mother taught me this a long time ago. If you put a towel under your cutting board, it won't slide anymore. So watch this. I'm going to put it under.
Beautiful.
And now doesn't slide anymore, right?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Yeah.
But to be straight up, when I'm at home, I don't have a cutting board, so I cut these all on paper plates.
Oh, well, that would work too.
Yeah. So if you wanna go get on, that's the way to do it. So I like these. Yeah. Again, like the brown rice is, you know, the easiest, I think, and also one of the best carb sources. So that's the main thing. But this is kind of the variety.
Yeah. And potatoes are good, but I just want to let you know, if you're really looking for the extreme way to really stay lean, potatoes are okay to eat sometimes. But if you're not very active and you don't find yourself burning a lot of calories every day, sometimes people's work, they sit in front of the computer, answering phones, things like that. You probably don't want to eat a lot of potatoes. Sometimes it's okay for a good variety, but sources like brown rice are going to be perfect for you. Because they get broken down so quickly versus potatoes. Depending on how you cook them, sometimes potatoes are, because they're lean, they're a good carb source, but it takes a little longer to break down in your body though. Gets absorbed pretty quickly. So it's a good food actually sometimes when you want to go ahead and fill up your glycogen levels in your muscles and basically get that really good pump. If sometimes when you're eating you feel like you're not getting good pumps on your workouts because sometimes you may be a little low on your carbs once in a while, potatoes are really good for that.
Actually, I find like a good pairing is the beef with the potatoes, and that's like like kind of the high calorie meal for you know, after a workout or when you really feel like you're in deficit.
And even though it's high calorie, but it's high calorie compared to like maybe chicken breasts and rice, but still overall still very low in calories.
Yeah. I mean, after a while of doing this, you develop a sensitivity so that you know exactly what you're hungry for. Like when I'm more tired, I'm actually hungry more for things like salmon, you know, beef, potatoes, things like that. But kind of my default state when I'm not like exhausted or like tired from a workout is chicken. Is what I want. Chicken, tilapia, pork, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dan, for you, I mean, you stay pretty active. Dan's much more active than I am, so he can eat potatoes and beef and things like that, and his body just burns right through it. So with me, I'm not as active as Dan is, so that's why I usually stick with more brown rice. But it really kind of depends on your daily activities. Sometimes you know, people are always moving around, things like that, and when they eat something like brown rice, they'll feel like they get hungry, like very quickly, sometimes as quickly as maybe about an hour. So potatoes are a really good source in that case. It holds you down a little bit longer.
Yeah, and I find if anybody here is interested in improving their athletic performance as well as their look, I do MMA training 5 days a week, and ever since I've started eating like this, it's really a tremendous difference. You know, if you're doing like real intense exercise and you're eating like you know, like French fries or like, you know, like bad stuff, then
totally kills you.
Yeah, like people don't think it matters, but it really does matter. If you go to any professional athlete, you know, they they have nutritionists. They're like very strict about their diet, and you know, they watch every single thing they eat. So if you want to improve your athletic performance, then this is definitely going to do it.
And I remember years ago when I didn't really know the importance of food, and I thought all it is just, you know, just take supplements, you know, just take protein powders and all this stuff, you know. And what really, really made me find out the importance of how important it really is on your diet and on eating was when I still remember the day so clearly, Dan. I was standing in front of my local gym, and I remember while I was walking in there, I was just kind of feeling my muscles, and I was like, man, I feel so pumped today, you know? I don't know what it is. I'm thinking, did I take anything today? No, didn't take any creatine, didn't take any. So what is it? You know, I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I did eat 5 times today already. And I mean, that was one of the first times I actually did the right thing. I ate 4 to 5 meals, you know, and every meal had protein and carbs, and just actually did the right thing and made a tremendous difference. You guys watching right now, if you haven't really experienced how it's like to actually eat protein and carbs to every meal and to actually bump your meal amounts up to about 4 to 5 times, you got to do it because it's going to make a world of a difference. More than any supplement out there can make you feel. You know, all the stuff out there now, they have the ones that, you know, get you all pumped up, the nitric oxides, stuff like that. It blows it away just by food. Yeah. You know, it's a big difference.
I find that there's actually like a very significant difference in your mental performance as well. I know, like I'm like typically working at home all day, and I know that if I eat something especially early in the day, which is bad, then I feel like mentally sluggish. And you probably won't. And the thing is, like when you're only eating bad foods, you don't even notice its effect because you're sluggish all the time, and you don't even know it.
You feel like it's a norm.
Yeah, exactly. But once you start eating like this, then you notice like a very big mental difference with between like the clean food and the dirty food.
So how are you going to cook these, Dan?
I'm going to actually grab a baking sheet real quick, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we have you know, like a very simple pan here. This is one of the few pans I actually do recommend you buy. And to kind of minimize the mess and make everything super easy, what we're going to do is cover this in aluminum foil. So just throw that right in there. And from here, real simple, just spray this down.
You know, and is that the olive oil we used a little earlier?
Yep, same exact thing. Olive oil we used earlier. Oops, dropped a few. It's okay though. Now, I actually, you can see here, I actually have a little bit too much for this pan. Ideally, you're going to have this so that it's just one layer of potatoes. But if it's like this, it doesn't matter that much. It's just going to take a
still cook, right?
Yeah. Okay. So now what I do here is I spray the top again. You do need a good amount of olive oil on these, just so they don't burn in the oven. Something like that is going to be good. And once again, we have our friend the Montreal steak seasoning. This just makes everything so easy. It's all the spices you need, just blend it together.
There you go.
Shake this on like pretty liberally. Give these potatoes like a good flavor.
You know what? I love potatoes. I love French fries, but this is a really healthy alternative.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Like if you really like French fries, then this is a good way to kind of wean yourself off those. So I just shook in some black pepper. I'm going to shake in a little bit of cayenne pepper. It's already kind of spicy because of the Montreal steak. And then the final thing is garlic powder. I'm going to shake on a pretty liberal amount of garlic powder here. And these are going to be like very flavorful again, like very similar to
I can't wait to try this. I've never tried this, guys. It looks good. And so simple. Just stick in the oven, right? That's it.
And we're constantly experimenting with new easy recipes, which are anybody can follow.
Yeah, because once you understand the system, you understand how it works. I mean, it's limitless on the different ways you can actually cook.
Yeah. Okay, so you can see this pretty well seasoned potatoes. What we're going to do is we're going to stick this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 20 minutes.
Welcome back, guys. This time we're gonna go cook sweet potatoes, and these are one of the best carb sources, just like brown rice, and I would say the best potato out of the potato family. So sweet potatoes, it's really easy to cook, and usually what I do is I just cut them up in a few pieces, and I just throw them in boiling water and boil them for just a little bit. You want to be able to kind of test and make sure that they're completely soft, and after that they're fully cooked. So really simple. You don't really have to season them if you don't want to. Once they're cooked, what I do sometimes is I put a little bit of brown sugar in it. So this way it gives it a little bit of sweet taste, but it's kind of up to you. It does naturally have a little sweet taste already. So we'll just go ahead and cut them up like this. Okay, so I'm gonna drop them back on my plate. And really simple.
That's it.
That's it. You know, so we'll go ahead and get these cooked, and we're all set.
Okay, so the final carb we're going to talk about is pasta. So we have here whole wheat pasta. Mike, can you explain why you chose the whole wheat pasta?
Well, whole wheat pasta is usually the best choice. Out of the pastas, you have the egg noodle pasta, which is okay, but it does give a little bit of protein. But whole wheat just breaks down a little easier in your body, and so it's the best for you. Pasta is a good food when it comes to a carb source. When it comes to leaning down and staying in good shape, it's not actually the best. I wouldn't say number one when it comes to leaning down, but still it's a very good carb source. And just as long as after you cook it, you don't mix it in with any type of high calorie sauces, I say you should be good. And it's definitely a very good carb source to add into the variety.
Great. The way I usually cook it, real simple, just break it in half. If you have a smaller pot, which I usually do, just break it in half, put it in boiling water, 8 to 9 minutes, and you're done. And then you can just pour the sauce right on that. You don't even need to warm the sauce up because you're going to microwave it later on, and that's it.